say that, well, I think that's happened. One of the things that will be demonstrated to you during the session is some of the projects that people have been working on. The projects themselves, and as valuable as they are, were a vehicle for people to work through and work with other people. They weren't the purpose of the course, I mean, the purpose of the course were those things about building self-esteem, confidence, etc. That said, the success of those individual projects will continue on. You know, we've explored things which we've never thought of before. Things we've thought of have been taken far beyond that original vision. And quite a number of participants have said, what's next? Well, next is what we make of it. This is really the start of the next part of your lives. So one of the things DIAL has long prided itself upon, and Pat and Mark have been involved with DIAL longer than I have, and Ian, is that we find space for people wherever they can contribute and let them build on that. A great cornerstone of the organisation is Carl, who couldn't come down this morning because the office has been used for a child DLA appointment with one of the other volunteers. And he was reluctant to come here, he doesn't like this sort of thing, partly because he knew how to talk about it. But Carl came to DIAL originally on a placement, and then has worked and acquired knowledge and skills that he didn't know he could. So he's a good example of application of learning. Right at the start of the project, when we got together, I talked to people about action learning being the philosophy that is the thread through all we do. One of the benefits of action learning is you can learn from it whether you do things right or you do things wrong. We should analyse what happened and make corrections. It's a philosophy, not just for an organisation, that people can carry on through life, not just instruction and formal facilitated courses, but if you spend a little time each day or each week reflecting on what happened and what didn't happen, you'll learn from that, make those slight adjustments. And I know that everybody taking part has got lessons to continue to learn. I want to read out some of the key messages from the evaluation. Last Wednesday we did a review and evaluation with the course members, and it was related to the aims and objectives in the course recruitment leaflets, which is what we were commissioned to deliver, and that was about self-esteem, etc., etc. And so I asked people to reflect on what worked well for them, what they'd like to do differently if we were starting again, what they want to do in the future. Do they feel better equipped to look for work and or voluntary activity? I won't read them all, but I'll read some highlights. We've got one here that says, the programme has calmed me down. I'd like to do voluntary work. Somebody else who says, voluntary work, working one-to-one is something that they found very useful. And also we hadn't anticipated, not that one-to-one working doesn't work, but we found to make the progress that people were capable of, we needed to do a lot more one-to-one work than we planned and were resourceful really. And I've got to give credit to Ian, who was really taking the, if you like, the burden of that. And I'm sure when he reflects on it, it was enjoyable as well. I haven't given that credit to Ian. I've got to say that the participants worked on a one-to-one basis with others. And that was a particularly pleasing development because not only were they actually using knowledge and skills that they had and sharing with other people, but the best learning comes from somebody you consider to be your peer or your equal. People do actually respond better to that. Somebody else here has put inspirational, learn to adapt to other people. We had a broad range of people, as I said, very diverse. Some people with hearing loss, some people with visual impairment, some people with multiple challenges, and people needed to work together to make progress. This person's put, I'm grateful to have had the chance to interact with people, do not feel so alone. All of us at times think that the burdens we carry on our shoulders are unique to us. And in the strangeness of mankind, if we know that people are carrying the same burdens, the burden's a bit lighter, even though they still have to carry their burden. So that aspect of it was something. Somebody here who's already doing part-time stuff with DIAL and enjoyed doing the IT part of the work. One of the elements of the programme was Alex and his colleague who got the NWDIAL. They worked with Carl, taking some computer techniques and putting them back together again and demystifying that aspect of it. It's all right getting people to be computer literate and things. The people who drive these projects, I think they make digital inclusion. If their computer doesn't work, they pick up a phone and a techie comes and sorts it out. If you're at home on your own, it's more challenging than that. So we want to build up the capacity, particularly within the world of vulnerability and disability, so that there's people with the skills and knowledge to help people get the computer sorted out. Somebody is trying to do more web program, stay flexible, emphasises that action learning suits them because it is flexible in its application. And I'm sure all of us have had times at school or later where we felt perhaps we've been off colour for a couple of weeks and you feel you've missed a big piece of learning and you can never catch up with that. With action learning we can. Another person's making new friends. I think that by and large, the whole of the group, inputters and contributors and everything else, have become friends with this project. And I see messages passing backwards and forwards and that. And although Victor's, although Victor's modified his hair, when Jackie and I went off to Australia, he was in colour tune, not quite as colour tune, but without.
The insults weren't worth it.
Remember YouTube?
Yes, I know. Facebook as well.
Love it.
Somebody else, specifically Winston, has worked with some other people to come up with a solution for him to be able to use a tablet. Not a tablet computer. So that's just the start of the journey in it, Winston, I'm sure, to get used to the voice system so you can actually tell it to do things, etc. The major barrier that Winston had was we bought some available stands, but they were too flexible for Winston's needs. They moved to them, so Ian and his father have worked and put some stuff together, which may well be of great interest to other people. Somebody else says, I would love to do it again, or help other people. Very good in group, everyone needs different things, more groups, more courses. Yes, I'd like to do more volunteering, and I'm guessing that is, because she's doing a lot of volunteering to help us get this sorted out. In my notes, I've said potential contributors to the DIAL team. Most of you, but North Worcestershire DIAL operates across the whole of the county, at the north end, Redditch, Bromsgrove, and White Forest. Our Redditch team, Alex and his friends and colleagues, are making big inroads over there. But what we found in the last decade really is a constant job. Pat, who looks after Bromsgrove, has been told that the hub